Welcome everybody to this is the first edition of the Schmoedown Countdown. Top 10 meets the Schmoedown. And I'm Cameron Haas, your host, and joining me, and hopefully as always, Caleb Boatman. Caleb, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited for the show. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and we've got an amazing first episode choice.
Oh, yeah.
As you know, it was Champions Week on the Schmoedown, with the the singles champion and the team champion being up in the movie league.
Mm-hmm.
So we are counting down our top 10 championship matches of all time. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
And before getting the list, I just have to say this was really tough for me. I don't know. I assume it was the same for you. Just I wasn't sure where the placement of things. There were so many matches that got left off the list. I don't know. How did you feel about making this list, and how was your strategy kind of when you were writing it and like putting it together?
Yeah. As far as it being tough, I completely agree because it's through like every single league in the Schmoedown, and there are 4 of them, so you kind of gotta compare apples with oranges a little bit, and that's super tough. So I just kind of looked at the matches and just picked the ones that stood out to me the most, and even then there were still a lot of them, and I just kind of had to keep narrowing them down until I could kind of get somewhere I wanted to go with it.
Yeah, so I was gonna say that we could do a couple honorable mentions, but what I'm thinking is that we'll do our list, and once we get to right before number 1, just after number 2, we'll give our honorable mentions. That way, it doesn't give away, what I mean? Because keeps people wondering,
Yeah.
So, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I do my 10, kind of a rundown of how the show works. I do my 10 through 6. Cameron does his 10 through 6, or vice versa. And then I do my 5 through 4. He does his 5 through 4. I do my 3 through 2. He does his 3 through 2. We do the honorable mentions, and we go to number 1.
Boom.
Did I do it right?
Got it, man.
Woo! First try. Okay. So, at number 10, number 10 usually doesn't make it in, so I just kind of picked a fun match.
Okay.
I picked Team Schmoes versus Box Office Breakdown.
That's my number 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, so we can talk about it.
That's amazing. It's a really fun match.
Yeah. I mean, who would have ever thought that Finstock would have made it into a title match? I mean, that's something that you think would never happen,
And it's interesting. Not only was this a very fun match, but this is the first match in the Collider era of the Schmoedown. Technically, this is still season 2 because it's the end of the 2015 tournament, but this is the first match in the old Collider studio. And I think like you said, this is just a fun match. This is not, I think pretty much most of my picks here come down to the last question. This one doesn't. I just rewatched it today, and it's not exactly like the trivia battle. If you're looking for like the trivia battle that you're gonna find the Schmoedown, this isn't what you come for.
Yeah,
it's a really fun match.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Finstock comes out without a shirt on for one, which is hilarious.
Wearing his own belt.
Yeah, wearing his own like tinfoil belt or whatever.
It's like Congo. Is he Congo? I don't know.
Yeah, and then I mean, it's not like wow impressive trivia skills as you'll see farther down our list, I assume. But what it is, it's super fun, and it is the first team championship match they ever had. This was the culmination of that 2015 tournament, as you said, and just to know which match we're talking about the match that came out in May 6, 2016. It started the Collider era.
Revenge of the Sixth.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I think some of the moments that stand out happen between Finstock and JT. Because you have to remember, this is a team that if you put them in a tournament nowadays, they might make it to the second round if they're lucky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they made it to the finals. They played the Schmoes. I think the general consensus, I wasn't watching the Schmoedown at this point. I went back, of course, and have watched them since. But the consensus was that the Schmoes were going to take that belt, which is what happened.
Yeah.
They became our inaugural champion. And I think that when I'm watching this match, I'm going, okay, I can see how Christian Harloff would come to be the singles champion as well, because you can just tell he's nailing a lot of these questions. And Mark Ellis comes out with that skin-tight demon suit on, of course.
Yeah.
And John Roca on commentary utters the best line, which is, "You would have thought the devil has bigger balls." You never.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, as a team, B.O.B. were kind of the perfect form of entertainment, you know, because you've got little evil JT, the guy who can't pronounce a single word right, and you've got Finstock, who, you know, can't control what comes out of his mouth and just says the most ridiculous things. And you've got, you know, the classic duo of Christian and Mark. So obviously the match is going to be a lot of fun.
I will just say this before we move on to your 9. This makes me miss Team Schmoes a little bit.
Yeah.
I really want to see them together. Maybe we'll see them down the line, but it makes me miss them a little bit. Because these two teams, they're on our number 10, but unfortunately, these two teams are not together anymore. But, yeah. We'll move on to so what's your number 9, buddy?
Yeah, my number 9, this is a match that has a lot of incorrect answers, but it kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time.
I think I have this too, okay?
It's Clark Wolf versus Sam Levine.
Yeah, that's my number 7. So there we go.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we're having quite a few commonalities on the list so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, you've got Sam Levine coming off beating Rachel Cushing. The match. Sorry, what?
Just him versus Rachel. What a match he played there.
Oh yeah, that's a great match. But yeah, Sam Levine coming off winning that, which was an unexpected win. Mm-hmm. And the match was released on March 6, 2018. Actually, sorry, May 18th, 2018. You've got that, and yeah, I mean that sudden death round where they kept getting like, you know, they kept going, and you kept thinking, okay, now this is when they're going to win it. It kind of reminds me of what just happened recently with Mara Knopik and Rachel Cushing on a slightly smaller scale.
And so, like, I had this is my number 7 on my list. And the reason that the final round, obviously, they all missed their questions. And, you know, that takes away from it a little bit. I think had all those questions been answered, if we get a perfect final round from both brothers, I think this moves up to my top 5 for sure.
Oh, I would agree completely.
Yeah. The one thing that I really thought about with this match is that question that Sam Levine won it on. This is the guy who's defending. He's defending. This is the first time he was defending both belts, right? Because he had just won his team championship, and so this is his first time with both belts. A lot of pressure on him. And what question comes up in the sudden death? But an animation question, and that's what he wins. And stuff like that in the Schmoedown, where it's like you can't write that. You know what I mean? You can't write that any better than how it came. And that just stands out for me in my mind.
Well, yeah, that, you know, him getting that question is part of the reason why Sam Levine is one of the greatest Schmoedown players of all time, because he knew his weakness was animation. He knew that was the thing that he wasn't good at, and he got better. He said he watched like 200 animated movies.
Yeah.
Probably an exaggeration, but he watched probably a lot of them. And that's how he knew that the Crude's question. And this match is kind of about surpassing expectations of how we thought people were going to play, because Clark Wolf also did that during the speed round, because Sam Levine had just done very well during the speed round against Clark Wolf's teammate Rachel Cushing. And then I thought that was going to happen again. I thought Sam Levine was going to destroy Clark Wolf in the speed round, and that's not what happened. Clark Wolf came back. She played super well in the speed round, and I think part of that has to do with how good Emma Fyffe is as a manager. Because, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was just agreeing with you there.
Yeah, because there's even footage of like that was posted on Twitter of Emma and Clark and Rachel and Andreyko all practicing with the buzzers, which is great because that just shows how committed Emma Fyffe is as a manager. But it's a good match. I think it would have been a little bit higher for me had there not been so many incorrect answers, but it was still an edge of your seat, intense match.
I agree. So like that was my number 7. So what's your number 8?
Yeah, my number 8 is Mark Ellis versus Dan Murrell.
See, this did not make my list. but it almost it was one of my honorable mentions for sure.
Yeah.
So talk about that.
Yeah, so I was watching Schmoedown for quite a while at this point. It had probably been a year because the match was released December 23rd, 2016. I probably started around 2016, so I've been watching Schmoedown for a year, and Dan Murrell was one of my favorite players, and so was Mark Ellis. So these were two competitors that I really liked, and you hear that matchup today and you think, well, obviously Dan Murrell's going to win. But Mark Ellis really played one heck of a game in this match. He plays super well, and he comes out dressed as Santa, which is
I was going to say, not only did he play well, he played well in a Santa costume.
Yeah. When, that's in California where it's not exactly cold outside, even during December, So kudos to him on that.
And this match, like I said, didn't make my list, but it almost did. And the one thing I really love about this match is that you see the two sides of what a Schmoedown player can be, right? You see Dan Murrell, who is, and this isn't a bad thing, he's just not really an entertainer. You know what I mean? And in the sense of the way Mark Ellis is, right? Mark Ellis is out here making people laugh. Dan Murrell's answering trivia questions, and he's damn good at it, right? And but at the end of the day, these two pretty much, it came down to the wire, which is something that hadn't really happened to Dan Murrell.
Yeah. I mean, because, the first match, this was Dan Murrell's first, actually it wasn't, sorry. It was his second title defense that he had. Because he had beaten Mark Riley, and then he beat Clark Wolf. But this was, the first time it really felt like Dan Murrell was, not guaranteed. 100% anyway. And the fact that it was Mark Ellis, the person, that was the person who was able to take him on, was super impressive. And Mark Ellis is a player I found, especially lately, has always been a little underrated, but because he plays super well. I think, sometimes he has a tough match, but he's super well in this match. I mean, most people can't say that they went toe-to-toe with Dan Murrell and, really at least made him go the distance, Yeah. So, any match where that can happen, where Dan Murrell can at least be put in a position where he's not 100% comfortable, that's going to be a great match.
And I'll say this, because people watch this might, depending on when you start watching this, you might, like you said, think of this match and go, Mark Ellis, Dan Murrell, come on. And it's interesting that this speaks to what kind of a player Mark Ellis is, because after the match, Dan Murrell, and this is something Christian I said, I'm not just pulling this out of nowhere. Dan Murrell said, do you need me to drop the belt? Because at this point, it was like, if Mark Ellis can't beat Dan Murrell, who's going to beat Dan Murrell, right? And thank God we didn't have him drop the belt there, because, we'll talk about this later. But
after that, there are quite a few matches after that are on my list. I won't say which ones, but quite a few of those. So should I get in my number 7 now?
Yeah, get you number 7.
Okay, my number 7 is another team match, and that is Patriots versus Above the Line 2.
That's a punt.
Okay, our first punt.
Yep.
For those of you who don't know, if the way punts work is, because I don't think we said this in the intro,
right.
If anything on my 10 through 6 is on his 4 through 5, 3 through 2, or his 1, that's a punt for him, and it keeps going as we go through all the categories. So should I get into my number 6?
Number 6.
Okay, my number 6. This is one that's probably going to be a punt. Wait. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, a little bit of an error. Oh, wait, okay, sorry. No, I've got it. My number 6 is Sam Levine versus Rachel Cushing.
Interesting enough, that's not on my list, so we can talk about it.
Yeah, that's a match where I think Rachel Cushing and Sam Levine, these are both great players, and so I think that that it was going to be very interesting no matter what happened. This is really where the moment where Sam Levine became one of the greatest players of all time, because I think this is where, because I think beating Harloff, that's something that, while Harloff is a good player, don't get me wrong, that match between Levine and Harloff, not that great.
No.
Are
you disrespecting? That's my number one on this list. Come on.
No. What? That's number one. Yeah. I mean, I personally didn't think that match was that great, but this is the moment where Sam Levine proved himself. In the speed round, he played so well, but Rachel Cushing was no slouch. She really pushed through. She just, she had trouble with that speed round, and that Beowulf question, that was a hard question.
That is one of the toughest questions I've heard. And I think what this comes down to, and this is kind of the point where this became a trend in the Schmoedown community, is because I think if you look at the poll before, the poll on the Schmoedown page, it was 80%. I think it was 82 or 85% that Rachel Cushing was going to win. Everyone thought it was going to be Rachel, and everyone's like, Levine's going to run, maybe he'll get it in teams, and then Levine TKOs her, I believe, right? Yeah, TKOs her. And
Wait, did he TKO? I'm going to fact check that. I'm not sure.
I don't think he had to answer a question. I could be wrong. This is me going off memory. So if you could fact check that, I'll just about the match. And
no, it was just it was just a normal loss. It wasn't a TKO.
Was it? Okay. I thought that she lost on the okay.
I'll fact check it a second time, but I'll go to the actual video and see, but I'm pretty sure it was just a normal loss.
So the only reason that I didn't really put this in my top, if I'm being honest, I think I do like this match more maybe than Box Office Breakdown versus Schmoes, which is my number 10. But the reason it just didn't fall in there is because it just wasn't tight enough. That it was super tight, first round, second round, back and forth. Then Sam Levine just destroyed that speed round, and it's not that I love seeing that because Sam Levine was my favorite player, and so I love that he was he had that amazing speed round. But to me, that just kind of killed the momentum of the match a little bit, just because I found him he's way ahead. It was almost a foregone conclusion at this point. And then obviously that really tough 5-pointer for Rachel. It was tough because I think a lot of people really wanted to see Rachel win. And, I was one of those people, but I was really happy with the way this match went. So, there's nothing wrong with that being their number 6.
Well, actually, I want to be a little bit honest here. That was supposed to be my number 9, not my number 6. I accidentally skipped ahead. That's why I said there was a little bit of an error. Okay. Because I was like, wait, because I was about to say my number 5 for my number 6. And I was like, wait, how is that my number 6? And then I kind of realized, so that match is actually my number 9. But that's okay. Sometimes mistakes happen.
So which one was your 9 was your 9
I'll kind of go through my 10 through 6. My 10 was Schmoes versus Box Office Breakdown. Yep. My number 9 was Sam Levine versus Rachel Cushing. My number 8 was Sam Levine versus Clark Wolf. That's how I got confused.
Okay, cool.
Because 2 Sam Levine matches in a row. That's how I got messed up there.
Look, guys, first episode, mistakes will happen. Even John Rourke and Matt Nose make mistakes on their top 10.
Yeah. And then 7 Mark Ellis versus Dan Murrell, and then 6 Patriots versus Above the Line 2.
Okay. So we will get.
Now it's all yours.
All right. So we will now get to my 10 through 6. So my number 10 was, of course, Box Office Breakdown versus Schmoes, which we talked about. My number 9, probably not on your list, but I wanted to include it just because I did have a lot of representation from this division, was Jeremy Johns versus Hector Navarro.
Yeah.
So I was going to say,
it's not on my list.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And it's not something I go back and revisit a lot. But when I was going back through the Intergeekdom matches, this one really stood out to me. I thought it came down to the last question. I think this was kind of when Hector Navarro was, he was kind of the Dan Murrell of the Intergeekdom, right? Until, of course, Jason Inman came along. And these guys were just so back and forth. They were so even. And I think, this is the thing in wrestling. I know you're not a wrestling fan or whatever, but there's this thing in wrestling where it's like sometimes star power just brings something to a match. And Jeremy Johns has that star power that made him so likable and so easy to root for in the Intergeekdom division, right? Because he was someone that recognizable face. He just has an aura about him, right? And I just love watching him in the Intergeekdom. And it came down, it was they were asking for, I don't know the exact question, but it was asking for the theme to Iron Man, and it was, or a song from Iron Man from the soundtrack, which was, of course, Back in Black. And in that question, I don't know if you remember, Jeremy Johns is humming Back in Black, but he can't pull the answer. And the whole time I don't know very many Schmoedown or Intergeekdom questions, and I knew this one. I'm screaming at my TV. I'm going, it's Back in Black, Back in Black. And he's going, okay. And he's like playing. I'm like, no, and he misses it. Right? It's like, oh, it hurt.
Yeah.
It hurt me. I didn't know if you want to speak about the match at all. I know it was not. So, like, is there a reason why it wasn't on your list?
Well, as far as Intergeekdom goes, and this was a match that I considered, but as far as Intergeekdom goes, I think championship matches don't tend to be the absolute strongest matches in Intergeekdom. And I think, what?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and I think part of that is because of, especially in the earlier days, they had that five-way system. And that five-way system made it so much easier for great players to just have one little mess up and not make it through. It was, there was a chance that this could have been Hector Navarro versus Rachel Cushing, because that's who Jeremy Johns beat. And I think that is a match that probably would have made my list as if it was Rachel Cushing versus Hector Navarro.
Yeah. And like I said, this was more me, I struggled not putting it on, but I did kind of want some Intergeekdom representation because I do actually think this is a pretty great match. And so number 9 probably won't make our eventual list. But
can I say one thing quick?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, I just want to say, even though like it's not like, I don't think it's, as far as skill wise, it's not like a great match. Jeremy Johns is just an entertaining competitor, and I miss him in the Schmoedown, and I think that's why I think there's a good argument for putting it on a list, because Jeremy Johns is just so entertaining himself, and Hector Navarro is a great player in his own right.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So my number 8. This might be a pun, but maybe not. Who knows? It is The Outlaw, John Roca versus Mark Riley.
That is a huge pun.
Yeah, I thought so. We'll talk about it later. So my number 7 was, of course, Sam Levine versus Clark Wolf, which we talked about.
Yeah.
And my number 6 might be another punt. The Patriots versus formerly known as Rotten Tomatoes, Team Modoc.
You see, I thought about this match.
Wow.
I couldn't make it on my list. I couldn't put it on my list.
Yeah. So this match, the way it played out, this could be my number 2 or 3. And I don't want to take anything away from Modoc. But the only thing, and I know I'm starting out by bashing this match that I put as my number 6, so I'll get to it later, but is that Modoc stayed in their Boris and Natasha character the entire match, which you could argue was their downfall. You could argue it lost in the match, but you could also argue that it made it super funny and super entertaining. And this match I rewatch a lot because of this reason.
Yeah. I think part of the reason why this didn't make my list is just because of that. I don't go back to this one a lot. I don't rewatch this one. I think I've only seen it the one time, and it's got a pretty high score and all that. It's just not one, mainly because I'm not a big fan of the Boris and Natasha voices. I don't know why they choose to model themselves after a movie which is not as bad as some people might think it is, which is the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie, which it has some funny moments. The critics trashed it. I don't hate that movie, but
I prefer the show. The show was something I watched a lot when I was younger. But this isn't the top 10 Rocky and Bullwinkle episodes. This is a different show. But,
it could be. It could be the top 10 Rocky and Bullwinkle episodes.
Yeah, next week, guys. Next week. We're gonna lose all of our 7 viewers. You know this, right? And the one thing I really like about this match, and this is the first time that the new sudden death rule came into play. Where it came down, but there's only one sudden death question. It was and this is, like I said, and this has been a theme on my list. It's these moments, right? These moments that are like kind of iconic in the Schmoedown, or even some of these moments that like maybe a little underrated. And I think this is one where the Patriots, the team I just wanted to lose so badly because they were amazing heels and they had the belt for so long at this point too, was that sudden death. And you see Matt Atchity, Gray Drake, Jeff Snyder all have different answers. And then JTE has Dumb and Dumber. And I'm going, who do I trust? I'm like, maybe Snyder got it, maybe because Christian obviously really good at holding that, and you're winner, and you're waiting, you're going, who has it right? Who has it right? And they say the Patriots. I'm like, oh, Snyder got it, and it's like, no, JTE got it, and that was just a crazy moment for me, and I think something that angered me, but also I was very excited. It made me look forward to when the Patriots defended the belt next, and that was also a fantastic match.
Yeah, this is one that I think when we combine our list at the end, I think this is one that'll definitely make it through, even though it didn't make my list. I think this is one that...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my number 6. So let's hear your 5 and your 4.
Yeah, my 5 is the triple threat match between Roca, Riley, and Merle.
That's my number 4, so we can talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, so, these are, at this point in time when the match came out, which was, well, I'll get it up. Whenever it came out.
Collision.
Sorry, what?
It was the first Collision main event. I don't know the date, but obviously.
Yeah, when I find it, I'll get it up. But anyway, whenever it came out, these 3 players, Dan Merle, John Roca, and Mark Riley. These were the 3 biggest players in the league at the time. These were the Titans, At that point, they were the only 3 people to ever have held a championship belt. So this match was insane, and I remember just hearing about it for the first time when I was watching it at the first Collision. I was so excited, and for the most part, it did not disappoint. It gave you about as much entertainment and excitement as I could expect from the match. The only reason this isn't a little higher is because Mark Riley had got knocked out pretty early on, which that's tough, but still I like the match a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy because I feel literally the exact same way that you feel about this match. I think the one thing, obviously, it's the 3 Titans of the game: Mark Riley, Dan Merle, John Roca. This just had such a big match feeling, right? But it also kind of felt like the end of an era a little bit, right? Because by this match happening, there was, of course, the stipulation that it kind of doesn't really, get to that later. But it was that the 2 losers had to win 3 in a row, and this kind of made you feel like, okay, this is the point of this match was, it was pretty much 2-3 years of storyline coming to a head, right? And I felt like the build-up was amazing, the promos, everything, right? That the match had to literally be every single question got answered right, or else it would disappoint a little bit, right? I think that's kind of the feeling is that, it came into the last question. Mark Riley he got horror in round 2, but it was tough. You remember how hard those questions were? Oh man, that was tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting because obviously, Dan Merle gets the belt back. We could talk about that John Roca 2-pointer, the Calvin Klein.
Yeah. Ooh, man.
But still, what a match, because this is just, like you said, it just felt like the 3 biggest names in the Schmoedown in a match. And what's better than that, right?
Yeah, Back to the Future questions have a history of being, easy, but stumping the players that they're being asked to. Because if you remember, Sam Levine had that infamous, I believe it was Sam Levine, when he was asked that, who's the mayor in Back to the Future? And it was Goldie Wilson III. I don't remember what match that's from.
Or JTE's in the speed run when the question was what quote, who said the quote, but he answered it too quickly and went Back to the Future too.
Yeah, so that's kind of a history with Back to the Future questions in the league. The match was July 7th, 2017. That's when the match was, and this is just an incredible match. And Merle, he takes the victory here. And that kind of was the victory that kind of cemented himself as the Titan among Titans, Yeah,
it's it was also kind of a bit of a somber kind of match, because at the end you're going, oh man, these 2 guys, Riley and Roca, it's like for them to get back to the top of the mountain is going to be so tough, right? Mark Riley eventually retires after that, which he's back now. But what just such a great match that really I think when people look back in the Schmoedown, 5 years from now, I think this match will still be kind of up there, just because of the in this, right?
Oh, I agree completely.
So let's move into your number 4.
My number 4 is a punt from earlier. It's Roca versus Riley.
Right. Yeah. Great match.
Yeah.
I'll let you take this one first.
Yeah. Riley comes out with that great Karate Kid themed entrance. This was when John Roca was still being, a heel.
This was, I believe this was his last match as a heel, was it not?
Yeah, I think so. Or maybe, no, because wasn't he still a heel at the Triple Threat?
He was, he was, but he wasn't, because I remember like Top 10 then had their match against the Patriots like just before the collision, and like they were kind of good guys because of that. So it was like he was in between. But this is I feel like this is his last like true heel match, in my opinion.
Yeah. So, and there's an argument to be made about that. But it's Roca versus Riley. And so you can make the argument that this is his last real heel match. And so that's something where, Roca took the belt from Dan Murrell in a match that I'm guessing we will talk about later.
Maybe.
Yeah, who knows? Roca, but so, Dan Murrell is my personal favorite player of all time.
Okay.
But John Roca is a close second. But at the time when I was watching this, I did not like John Roca because I really did not like heels.
I could not stand.
Yeah. So, I was rooting so hard for Riley, and I think it's just such a cool comeback story. The original champion, after being defeated, being counted out, coming back, just like in the Karate Kid, sweep the leg, do all he did, and defeating the heel, which, you can make the argument that then that stopped John Roca from being a heel and really made those 3 competitors cemented as the Titans of the league.
And just talking about this match makes me want to move it up my list, so we'll get to that later. But this match, just also remember the time at which this match happened. When this match started, think about the champions of the league, right?
Yeah.
The Patriots were still in their dominant run. Dan Murrell, who was kind of like a good guy, just left the Lions and had his belt taken by pretty much the biggest heel in the Schmoedown at this point, right? And we're just thinking, like when is a good guy gonna win, And Mark Riley, I think the one great thing about his Schmoedown persona and character is that he was always we could always see a little bit of Mark Riley in ourselves, you know what I mean? And like, I know that sounds, maybe it's a little dumb to say about a trivia league, but that's kind of how I felt in the moment. And like you said, everyone counts Riley out, and people still do it. And I go, why are you counting this guy out? Because he will upset everyone and anyone in this league, and this match is just proof of that.
Oh, yeah. You've got that match coming up with him and Andrew Guy, and I think people are counting Riley out, and I don't think that's a wise thing to do. But, Riley, it's just such a great, comeback story. It feels like something from a sports movie. Mm-hmm. It's just so entertaining, and I love that match so much, and Riley pulls it off.
This is the last match, or the first match that actually made me jump up and scream. I'm not even joking. This is the first one where I was running around my house. My dad was very confused. And he goes, "What's a Schmoedown?" He goes, "I don't know. Who's Mark Riley?" And I'm screaming. And obviously,
son, are you on drugs?
Mark Riley's prancing around the Collider studio, hugs Clark Wolf, and it's such a great moment.
Yeah,
it finally felt like a win for the good guys, which is something we had not really seen in the Schmoedown.
Yeah,
at this point. And
your dad sees you running around the house. Is Schmoedown a drug? Is that what a Schmoedown is?
That thing you buy in the street, right? That's the no.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say, the reason I had this as number 8, at one point I had it as my number 5. Like I said, a lot of moving around. The only reason I think I had it as number 8 was because this was kind of like the awkward period right before the triple threat, where it was like, okay, well, Roca didn't really defend his belt, but he gets a rematch, and also this was like pretty much just before not just before the collision, but it was like there wasn't a lot of time for me to sit with it. You know what I mean? To sit with Riley as champion, which was too bad because I think he really is a great champion. But yeah, this is a great match, and I think this is probably going to be very high on our list come to the end.
Yeah.
So now we're going to get to my number 5 because we already talked about my number. Yeah, so my number 5 is the Patriots versus top 10 numero uno.
See, I thought about putting this one on my list, and I couldn't quite make it on.
That's fair, and I think that's the one thing that we're not a lot of these season 1, 2, and 3 matches are on our list, and that's kind of what happened. But for me, the Patriots versus top 10 rivalry is such a cornerstone of the team division, and when I'm looking at it, this is just the best match, and and that's kind of that's pretty much my rationale. It also came into the last question, and I remember. I wish I could remember the final question because I tried to memorize a lot of these final questions, but it's hard. And the Patriots literally guessed it. They made an educated guess, and for me, the matches that end where you hear "and your winner," and I have no idea which side it is. Those matches stand out for me, and this Patriots versus top 10 rivalry, and this is kind of a smaller part of a bigger picture. You know what I mean? This is what kicked off the Patriots. I think it was 6-match or 5-match title, whatever it was, right? Crazy title defense streak, and it's like just one point here could have changed the course of the Schmoedown.
Yeah,
but it didn't. And it's a very little match.
Yeah, I almost put it on my list. Part of the reason it's season, it's the first of the Collider era where the points are kind of weird.
The first round, first rounds are weird.
Yeah, first round's kind of weird. It's, it's a little, I don't find myself rewatching this match that much, but I almost put it on for the exact reasons that you said. It kicked off that top 10 Patriots rivalry. It is the best match of the top 10 Patriots trilogy rivalry that they have. I almost put it on my list, but I couldn't quite make it.
Yeah, and you could also make an argument that without this match, you don't maybe get, the live event. You don't get the, this is just a kind of match where it's like, such a big deal in the Schmoedown, and that's kind of why I put it. It's my number 5. Maybe I could have probably moved it down a little bit more. Riley versus Roca probably should have been ahead of this one, but it just felt important to me. Like this match. So that's why I put it there.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. My number 4 was the triple threat, which we just talked about. So we'll get to your number 3.
Yeah. All right, my number 3. This is a big team match.
Okay.
This is Above the Line versus Patriots numero uno, the first one.
Okay. I know. I don't have number 1 on my list.
That's fair. That is fair.
A second. But yeah, you can talk about this match.
Yeah, I mean, this match, it was crazy because this is, Above the Line. This is after they won the team tournament, if I'm correct, right?
Yes. Yeah, they're 4-0 at this point versus the Patriots, who are 8-0, I believe.
Yeah. So it's at a crazy point. These are two teams that they have this friction, and they go all the way. The questions just keep coming. They keep getting right answers, and it's just an amazing thing of skill, and it's just so impressive. Both these teams are some of the greatest teams that we've had in the Schmoedown, and they're both at the top of their game, and they're both playing so well. And it just comes down to that remember the Titans question, which, even though I'm not good at sports movies, I was screaming at my computer because I knew this one, because my math teacher would quote this a lot, would quote that specific quote. And he was like, this is like something like a homework assignment. This is not a democracy. This is a dictatorship. So, and we actually watched that movie like at the end of the year in his math class. So yeah, I have a soft spot in my heart for that movie. But yeah, I like this match a lot.
So this is where it becomes tricky for me, because maybe this is me being bitter with the Above the Line literally being my favorite team of all time, and the Patriots being, I'm not going to say my least favorite team because they're an important team, but the team I despised. So maybe it's selfish for me to put this match, not put it on my list because they lost, and that because this is a great match. There's literally nothing wrong with this match, and it's funny you talk about that. You knowing that quote because you're a math teacher. I am sitting there with my uncles and my dad watching this match because we watched this spectacular together, and I'm going, "Oh, it's training day! It's training day!" And I'm yelling "training day," and Sam Levine says "training day," and I am jumping. I am going, "Above the line, Wednesday, and you're a winner." I'm like, and still, what do you mean? No. And I literally sat in shock, just going, no. And that was such a crazy moment, just me as a Schmoedown fan. But this is a fantastic match. Remember the Titans. That haunts me. It haunts me. But there's literally there's not a flaw to this match. There's not a flaw.
Yeah. I mean, your list, reflects what you like in a way, and so I don't blame you for not putting that on. Just as that Modoc versus Patriots match. That Modoc's not really a team that I find that interesting. Yeah. So, it's kind of that type of thing where your personal preferences do dictate what's on your list a little bit, and I can't blame you for that.
I'll tell you another reason why I don't have my list in like a couple minutes. So, if there's anything else you want to say about this match before we jump into your number 2.
No. All right, my number 2 is one that I will be surprised if you don't have on your list, and it could even be your number 1. I don't know. This is Dan Murrell versus John Roca.
That is a punt.
Okay. Well, we kind of know where it is then, but
so my number 3, and this is the reason, literally the only reason I don't have a Patriots above the line 1 on my list is because I put Patriots versus above the line 2. So basically, what this came down to for me is that these two matches are really similar. They're very similar. These two teams back and forth, and it came down literally to the one team not knowing the 5-pointer in both cases, right? Mm-hmm. And the only reason I put number 2 on my list is because I just think it was a bigger moment, bigger match because Patriots dropped the belt, of course, which leads to what we're getting to now. And I just didn't want to have both of them on there just because I wanted to talk about some of these matches that maybe, wouldn't be mentioned if so. And that's literally the only reason I have. But yeah, to talk about this match, this is such a defining moment for the Schmoedown. And I think, talk about your Riley Murrell-Roca match. This, debatably, this is like the team match to what, to like what that is for the singles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's such a giant match. And I think it's just such a shame. Now, I didn't even think about this before, is that the Patriots versus Above the Line had, in my opinion, probably the best rivalry in the team division. Top 10 versus Patriots is good, but they didn't produce the matches that these two teams did. And Patriots and Above the Line are no longer in the league. And when I just sit there and I think about that, I go, oh man, that hurts. It hurts a little bit. But what a match this was, It came down to that. It was the question about was it the Italian job? That was the question, right?
Yeah.
But was it the Sterling? And they said Sterling, whatever.
Yeah.
I actually knew the answer to that question, and I was really surprised that the Patriots didn't know it.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there going, okay, I'm not gonna say an easy 5-pointer, but on the easier side for a 5-pointer. And I'm going, we're gonna get the Patriots are gonna be 10-11-0 now. We have to go through this again and again, and they just didn't have it, and I was in shock. Sam Levine was in shock. Drew McQueen was in shock. Everyone was. And what a big moment, the end, almost the end of an era, really.
Yeah. Yeah. So your number 2 then, or was that your number 2?
That was my number 3. My number 2, which I assume will be your number 1, from Star Wars, or from the Spectacular.
Yeah.
Ken Knapsack versus Sam Witwer.
Yeah. So since it's my number 1, we can talk about it now.
Yeah, because yours will be next. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my number 1. So I mean, it's an Iron Man match that had never been done before at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the Star Wars League that much. At this point, I did not like the Star Wars League. I thought, the questions, and I didn't think, besides Ken Knapsack, nothing's really impressed me a ton. But this match, just the way it was done, it just feels so intense to watch, and just coming down, and when that clock hits and they do the speed round, every single thing is just so impressive to watch. Just as far as a skill level, this is just the most skilled, and it's the most entertaining. That's why I put it as my number one. You know, sorry, what?
This is my two, right? Like, I'm not going to be like, how is this your number? Because this my number two. I struggle to put it. I was going to put it my number one. And I'll talk about the reason why in a second. But like you said, there's literally nothing wrong with this match. You couldn't write it better. You know what I mean? Like, it came down to the question. It came down to that clock hit 0.
Yeah.
Question gets answered. Sam Witwer says something that I don't even know what he said. Really, he just says Pikachu, and then it was like, I don't know what he said, but like, because he just says it so fast, right? He knew the answer. It's just like, what a. And I think if you wanted to describe this match using a GIF or a picture, look at Sam Witwer's face after that match. He just goes, because and I think a testament to this match is, like I said, I watched the Spectacular with a lot of the people in my family who weren't Schmoedown fans, and Pacers versus Above the Line was at this event, and they're like, it's a good match, but Knapsack versus Witwer, you don't have to be the biggest Schmoedown fan. You don't have to be a Star Wars fan. If you just watch this match, I don't care who you are, it will entertain you.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks volume.
Yeah, that's really my argument, is that you don't have to, like, I am not the biggest Star Wars fan. Like, I like all the movies, well, with the exception of the prequels, but I like all the movies, but like, I'm not super detailed at all. Right. So it's so crazy seeing this match, Oh, actually, there was an error. I meant that my number one was supposed to be Alex Damon versus Bruce Greenwood.
I was going to make that match. I was just going to make that joke.
Yeah.
We'll leave it to my number one.
Yeah, man. That's you see, that's the exact opposite of this match. Is seeing. I feel bad for Bruce Greenwood in that one, but yeah, it's so impressive seeing the level of skill that both Sam Witwer and Ken Knapsack have. But I can't fault you for putting it at number two, because your number one is also a great match.
Which is also your number two, which is going to be tricky once we get to this.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to say about your number one?
No, just that it was an amazing match.
So, of course, my number one, a punt from your number two, I believe, the Outlaw John Roca versus Dangerous Dan Murrell.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what to say about this match that hasn't already been said. But in my opinion, the greatest match in Schmoedown history, because there was such a story here. And, the way that Knapsack versus Witwer was just an incredible match, this had everything for me. It was just the build-up was amazing. You had no idea what was going to happen. Everyone kind of figured, Dan Murrell's going to win. Dan Murrell's going to win. And then the match keeps going, and you're going, maybe he won't. And then you're like, he's got it. Comes down to the final question. And I think that reaction, the reaction from John Roca, the scream, I don't know if that's ever come out of somebody's body, a sound like that before. But he makes that noise. Bibiani comes out, the hat flip, everything. I've seen it so many times, because this match just keeps me coming back. Come back to it because it's just such an incredible. It's storytelling. It really is storytelling. Yeah.
I mean, I can't argue with that. It's an amazing match, and that that moment where John Roca screams is just that little 2 seconds is just one of the greatest moments in Schmoedown history, if not the greatest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Dan Murrell and John Roca, these are two of the all-time greatest players. And at the time, Dan Murrell was the greatest hero and John Roca was the greatest villain.
Yeah.
So you have that clash of good versus evil right there in front of you, and it's so great to watch. There's only really one reason, well, I guess two reasons why I couldn't quite get that match to number one.
Okay.
One of them is that the question that Murrell got wrong for the 5-pointer that lost him the game, I knew and I didn't think was that hard, which was who directed the Burbs, Joe Dante. Yeah, I didn't think that was that hard of a question, so that's a little disappointing to see that. And then just the fact that, at the time, John Rocco, who I was not a fan of at the time, to see him beat Dan Murrell, who is my hero, that's tough. So it's kind of like the same reason why you don't have Patriots versus Above the Line #1. That's the only reason it's #2. No. But once we kind of combine our list, I think there's a good argument to be made for this one being #1.
Yeah, and I'll say kind of what you're talking about. The only reason I didn't have Knapsack versus Whitwer as #1 was just because even though it was an incredible match, and I could even say maybe the best match, is that the Star Wars division as a whole wasn't. It's just not something that I particularly care for in the Star Wars division, and I thought that this Knapsack versus Whitwer match was really going to elevate it, and to me, it really hasn't. Unfortunately, nothing, and it's not the match's fault. It really is. It's just. It's not. Sometimes it feels like the Star Wars division is kind of the C story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas
I think had Sam Whitwer stayed champion, I don't think that would be the case.
Yeah, and I think you're right about that. That's just kind of what it comes down to for me, is that the Star Wars matches is like sometimes I kind of forget we have a Star Wars division, and it's nothing. That's nothing against Knapsack or Whitwer because these are nothing against them at all.
Yeah.
It's just that's what it came down to for me was that Roca versus Murrell kind of changed the Schmoedown for me. Whereas Knapsack versus Whitwer, I'm not saying it didn't change anything. It just didn't have the same impact for what Roca and Murrell had, and that's really my only reason. But I think there's nothing else to really say about these two matches.
Yeah. So now we do our honorable mentions.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So one of my honorable mentions is Patriots versus Above the Line 3.
Oh, yeah.
Ever 3.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Iron Man match, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, the Iron Man match. Just because it's an Iron Man match, it makes it on there, but as a whole, it's not an amazing match because the Patriots just kind of always stayed behind for most of the match.
Yeah, and the one thing that bugged me about that, because I had that in my honorable mention too, was the only thing that bugged me about that match was just I love that Above the Line dominated, but the Patriots kind of they were they kind of give that attitude that we don't care, which kind of it was that's kind of crappy because these are the belts that they held for so long, you kind of think they would care a bit more, but still care.
Yeah, that's kind of been the feeling with Jeff Snyder, the Lions Den, and the Patriots. Just kind of an attitude of who cares anymore.
And it feels real now, doesn't it? A little bit.
Yeah,
because
yeah. Snyder versus Bibiani was kind of that nail in the coffin.
I know. I will say this. I don't want to make this a crap fest on Snyder. Is that I hope that teaming with Andrejko will kind of spark up his Schmoedown passion again.
I hope so. Anyway. Hopefully they can make it. The other 2 honorable mentions I have are ones that you had on your list, which were Top 10 versus Patriots and MODOK versus Patriots.
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing I had with yours. Was Above the Line versus Patriots 1. I wanted to put on the list, and it's gonna make our final list. It's just literally that I had the other Above the Line match, so I just make some room for the other matches. I also had. I almost put Jeremy Johns versus Jason Inman, just because that was kind of cool seeing the the changing of the guard a little bit.
Yeah.
Riley versus Makuga just being the first match, big moment, but not. I don't think it deserves to be in the top 10.
Do you mean Hector Navarro versus Jason Inman?
Yeah, is that not what I said?
You said Jeremy Johns versus Jason Inman.
Sorry.
And I was like, did that happen?
No, I wish that happened. That would definitely make my top 10.
Yeah.
Met Navarro,
Yeah, that was one that I forgot. That's also an honorable mention for me is Jason Inman. I didn't have a single Intergeekdom match on my list, but if I did, that would have been the one that I put on was Jason Inman versus Hector Navarro. But I think there's a good chance that Mara versus Inman would have made my list had it come out now.
I think Kalinowski, if Kalinowski would have won that match, that definitely would have. But that's different story. So let's get to combine the list, shall we?
Yeah.
So we're at a bit of a crossroad because our number one's either going to be Rokamura or Knapsack versus Whitwer. I'm okay with either of these. I'm not I'm not gonna argue about it. You know what I mean? Like, so I'll.
Here's the thing. I think we should put Merle versus Roca at number 1.
Okay.
Here's why. Because while Knapsack versus Whitwer, that's, kind of the ultimate, skill level, like two amazing skills.
Trivia.
I think really, as far as what the Schmoedown is skill meets kind of that entertainment, with the characters and the personas. And I think that's what makes the Schmoedown. And I think with the storylines, and I think that's why Merle versus Roca should be our number 1.
Okay. That's why you're my co-host, because we're not going to argue about this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So then number 2, of course, being Knapsack versus Whitwer.
Yeah.
So then we get to another bit of a problem here with our number 3. So since you conceded, kind of gave me your number, like my number 1, I'm going to let you pick whatever you want the number 3 to be.
All right. Well, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is Patriots versus Above the Line 2.
Okay. Yeah. My number 3 is Patriots versus Above the Line 1, but that's not on your list at all, so I'm not going to do that. So at number 3, I'll put Roca versus Riley.
Okay. Yeah. I'm good with that. Yeah. That is on my list. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I like that.
So what do you have at number 4?
So my number 4 is the triple threat match, which is your number 5. So I feel like that would make sense to put as 4.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so 4 is the triple threat. Number 5. What was your 4? Sorry.
My number 4 was Roca Riley. My number 5 was triple threat. The highest one that we don't have on the list right now is Patriots versus Above the Line 1.
Okay, so put that as 5.
Well, you have Above the Line 2 on your list, and I have that as 6. So let's put that as 5, and let's put Patriots versus Above the Line 1 at 6.
Are you sure? Okay. Okay, yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you don't have 1 on your list at all, so I think I'm representative of both our lists.
And I feel like that should have been on my list. It was tough for me. This is a really tough list, and
I agree.
We're gonna run into a couple tough lists. I was just kind of brainstorming topics, which maybe we'll talk about at the end of the show.
Yeah.
So number 7, what do you have kind of more? Oh, this should probably be Wolf Levine, right? Because we have that both kind of.
Well, the next one I have is Mark Ellis versus Dan Merle, and you didn't have that one on your list at all, right?
No, but you've given me a lot, so I'll put that. I'll make that 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then next should be Wolf versus Levine.
Yep.
All right. So where are we at right now?
So we just put our number 8 down, which is Wolf versus Levine.
Okay. So what's the highest one that's not on your list? That's not on the big list. What's the highest one on your list that's not on the main list yet?
The highest one is Modoc versus Patriots.
All right. I do not have that.
So what do you want to make? We both have Box Office Breakdown versus Schmoes at 10. We can make that 9, and then I'll let you pick 10.
I say we put Schmoes versus Box Office Breakdown at 10 because it's both kind of one we agreed that it was a joke match. So I say we make that 10. And you know what? Let's put Modoc versus Patriots at 9.
What was your number? What was your 9?
My 9 was Sam Levine versus Cushing, but we've got Wolf versus Cushing on there, so I think it's fair to put Modoc versus Patriots at 9.
I thought was Trek versus Patriots, because that was also one that was pretty close. Because that wasn't on my list. That was just an honorable mention.
Yeah. I say at 9 we put Modoc versus Patriots, at 10 Schmoes versus B.O.B.
Okay.
And I'm happy with that. Because pretty much everything on my list that I wanted to be on there was on there. Like, the only one that didn't make it was Levine versus Cushing. I'm okay with that.
This is a damn good list. Okay.
Yeah.
So, obviously, if you watch the Top 10 show, they kind of do the drum roll. And do you want to do the drum roll or do you want to do the announcing?
I'll do the drum roll since you have the list. Because I wasn't writing down the main list. So I'll do the drum roll and I'll do like number 10. I'll say the numbers and you say the. All right.
Okay, so this is the top 10 Schmoedown Championship matches of all time, baby.
Okay. At number 10.
Box office breakdown versus the Schmoes.
At number 9.
Team Modoc versus the Patriots.
Numero 8.
Classy Clark Wolf versus the Inglorious One, Sam Levine.
7.
Mark Ellis versus Dangerous Dan Murrell.
And at number 6.
The Patriots versus Above the Line numero uno.
Number 5.
The Patriots versus Above the Line dos.
Number 4.
Mark Riley, Dan Murrell, John Roca, the Triple Threat.
Number 3.
Mark Yodi Riley versus the Outlaw, John.
Number 2.
The Iron Man match in the Star Wars division, Ken Knapsack versus Sam Witwer.
And the number 1 Schmoedown Championship match of all time is
The Outlaw, John Roca versus Dangerous Dan Murrell. Wow.
I think that's a pretty great list.
We didn't even mess up that many times.
Yeah. The only one little thing I had was where I forgot about the Levine Cushing match, but other than that, we didn't. I think that was pretty good.
Yeah, I had a blast doing this. I don't know what we did for time, but I don't think we did too shabby.
Yeah, I think that was only a half an hour.
Yeah, something like that. I had a great time, and I definitely think that this was a success. Maybe we're definitely gonna make this a more regular thing.
Yeah, actually, it was an hour and a half. My bad. But anyway, what?
It felt like a half an hour, so there you go.
Yeah, that was a whole lot of fun. Cameron, why don't you tell us where the good people can find you? Yeah,
you can find me at I'm in between Twitters, but type in my name, you'll find it. But more importantly, please support this channel because Haven was very kind enough to let us use this channel, and I really appreciate it. Jack of all trivia, support it because it's a great place.
Yeah, I'll kind of echo that. First of all, you can find me at my YouTube channel, Caleb Boatman. I do Schmoedown reactions there. But yeah, check out everything on Jack of All Trivia. You've got trivia matches where our team, the Young Bucks, plays this September in a match that has already been filmed, but we will not talk about the outcome here because it's already been filmed. But check out that match when it comes out. Check out every match of Jack of All Trivia. Cameron and I are frequent players in all the leagues. Well, not all the leagues, but quite a few leagues.
Check out All Access as well on Sundays.
Yes.
Sub is the host of that, and he does a great job. And they were kind enough to kind of let us we're kind of like the after show. You know what I mean? Like the late show almost.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, definitely. It's so great that we were kind of able to have our own show here, and hopefully we can continue this because this was a lot of fun. But yeah, to echo what Cameron said, please check out Schmoedown All Access. It's the best Schmoedown after show on the planet. It is so much fun. You can see Christopher Michael Woodburn, the host. You see Haven Pendergast there quite a bit. He's great. See James Shimo quite a bit. Sometimes Christopher Day pops up. Sometimes Cameron pops up. I'm usually there most of the time. You know, so many different people show up. Please check it out. It's just one of the best shows on the planet. And with that, I think we're done. Haven, or unless Cameron has something else to say.
No, we're starting off small, but I really enjoyed doing the show. We'll definitely do it again. If anyone has any suggestions, listen to this. If a list they want to hear, we'll definitely do it because action is great. We're going to try to keep it to the theme of what's happening within the week. And we'll definitely maybe try back again.
Put your suggestions in the comments. If you got a suggestion, put it in the comments.
And we're going to have guests on the show as well. We'll have 3 lists sometimes. We're going to spice it up a little bit. So,
definitely.
But thank you, everyone.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And I had a great time. And
be sure to.
Young Bucks.
Yeah. Bye.
Peace out.